Hi everyone, my name is Steph. This is the Novelty Corner and welcome back to my channel and welcome to my June monthly wrap-up. This is the first of two wrap-ups that you're going to get this month. First of all, we have my monthly wrap-up where I have my top 5 books and some stats, and then you'll also get my second quarter wrap-up which has my second quarter stats as well as my half-yearly stats and all of that. So if you are a stats and reading person, these are the kind of videos for you. But we are going to jump into the monthly stats first, and then I'll talk about my top 5 books, and I do it in order from 5th to 1st. So this month I read 44 books. I am carrying one book over in the month that is Ode to the Heartbroken, which is an art copy of a science fiction dystopian book that I have. I did try to finish it before the end of the month. I have not had the space to finish reading it. It's a little bit denser than some of the other books that I've been reading. I read a total of 11,622 pages. My spreadsheet says I had 2 DNFs. I think I had more. I just got really slack at updating that part of my spreadsheet, so I will have to go back and check that at some point, but at the moment it's sitting at 2. My most read genre this month is unsurprisingly romance at 79.1% of the books that I read were all romance books. Also, it was Pride Month, so I was really trying to just read as many Pride romance books as I possibly could. My most read romance subgenre this month was contemporary romance at 12 books, which equated to 37.1% of the romance books that I read. In terms of savings for, using my library and using Kindle, this was an interesting month. So I saved $71.37 through using my library, which is mostly audiobooks that I borrow through Libby. I had negative $6.30 from Kindle Unlimited. I'm still actually over my target of reading books that equate to more than the total subscription of Kindle Unlimited for the entire year. But this month I did not even reach the minimum benchmark. And that's because I was reading a lot of books that I already owned. Through receiving ARC copies or review copies, either through NetGalley, publishers, etc., I saved $159.64. And I spent $78.35 on purchasing books. Again, that number could be slightly out because I can't remember if I added the last couple of books. Why is somebody drilling? We might have to deal with drilling sounds. I'm really sorry about that. If I don't film this now, it's not happening. In terms of the videos that I released this month, I did a little bit better than I have in previous months. I would still like to get back into having more content sort of pre-filmed and ready to go for you guys. But being sick and end of term and all of that just meant that actually the filming was not the difficult part. It was the editing part that was a struggle because my brain just wasn't here. So I had 4 weekly book steep videos, including episodes 22 to 25. We did have the Try Chapter Second Chances video number 2. I need to do another one of those. My May top 5 video, my Bingo Board from Hell 2026 update where I've updated the challenges that I want to try and hit for the year, and also my Sports Romance reading vlog. All right, so that brings us to my top 5 books. The first one being in 5th position, Falling for the Felid by Louisa Masters. This is the 3rd book in her Elf Magic series. This is a spin-off of the Hidden Species world. So there's a number of series. They're all kind of interconnected. They all follow on from one another. You could pick them up and read them on their own. I do think they're best read, at least in their series in order. But I do recommend them because they're all very short, they're very easy to read, and they are occasionally just silly, light, fun reads. Doesn't mean they don't lack emotional depth, but they're very easy to get through. Falling for the Felid follows Ari, who is an elf who is a security guard for the leader of the elves. He has been tasked with becoming a liaison for a demon ice hockey team that the government is trying to get behind and support and trying to increase the attendance and promote the game. He's previously had a cross paths with Felix, who is one of the players, and he believes that Felix is just a bit of a thug because Felix is quite violent on the ice. There's a number of reasons for that, but Felix ends up becoming Ari's guide into the world of hockey, and they end up falling for one another. Felix is a Felid shifter. He is going through what in Felid shifter life is second puberty, which is his sexual puberty. And so his aggression and his hormones and everything are off the chart, and really no one around him is helping him. And playing a very aggressive sport has not helped that situation. But at the start of the book, the team has new coaches, it has new management, and when he finally comes to talk to the people in charge about how he is and what he's feeling and the fact that he's in second puberty, they're like, we needed to know this because there are things that we can do, because they are determined to turn perception of this game around. The coach firmly believes that Felix is one of his best players and wants him to stick around, and so he's actually helping him. It's fun, it's light, it's ice hockey in a different form, paranormal romance with elves and shifters and magic. It's good fun. In 4th place, we have Home Ice by Saxon James. This is another contemporary romance. It does feature a professional hockey player and a high school hockey coach who were best friends when they were growing up. However, when Jensen went off to the NHL. He was drafted. Ty was supposed to follow. He was also drafted, but then never turned up and then ghosted Jensen. Jensen is back in town because he receives a phone call from his mum saying that one of his ex-girlfriends from high school has passed away and she's left behind a 14-year-old boy who everyone is saying is Jensen's son. And Jensen never knew. He didn't know she was pregnant. He didn't know that she had a kid. He didn't know any of that. And so he comes back. He's suddenly a dad. There's no question that Kaysen is his son. And Ty, who is Jensen's ex-best friend, is Kaysen's hockey coach. And Jensen is determined to connect with Kaysen. He feels a sense of responsibility. He's also angry at his ex-girlfriend for never telling him, because it seems like everyone believed that he would be a complete flake and that he wouldn't have stepped up. And he's determined to prove everyone wrong, while also trying to rebuild his friendship with Ty. And through the course of the book, Jensen and Ty recognize that they are actually probably more than best friends. They do have feelings for one another. I did really love this book, so it was good fun. It's very, very Saxon James. And because I had pre-ordered a copy from her website, I also got an art print. Sorry if the lighting changes because the sun has decided to come out. Coming in at third is Botanical Mischief by T.A. White, which is a spin-off of her Firebird Chronicles series. In this, we're following Gus, who is one of the children who were taken by and experimented on and changed in different ways and survived. And she lives on a space station. This story runs parallel to book 6. And she is secretly in charge of the station, and she has the ability to absorb and survive various toxins and poisons. And she has this secret garden growing of very, very dangerous plants. Anyway, as the events of book 6 unfold, most of which take place on this station, she is running around trying to, one, protect her secret, trying to stay out of trouble, but ending up in the thick of it. She saves a Tuan soldier who is dumped on her doorstep. She saves a Tuan child who is being terrorized by mercenaries on the station, and then is fighting to make sure that people are not trying to frame her for crimes she didn't commit, which is a terrible explanation. It's very fun. It's actually much shorter than most of the Firebird Chronicles books, but I wouldn't recommend starting here because there is so much background knowledge that you need to fully realize and understand exactly what's happening when. And in fact, I need to go back and reread book 6 and then reread this in sequence, because I know there are things that I missed because I was reading it going, oh, hang on a second. So I would like to do that. And it would be really interesting to see if someone could come up with like those lists where you read the chapters, I forget what that's called, like a tandem read for the 2 books, because I think that would be really interesting. And then there is Bar Down Baby by Kath Richards, which is a contemporary hockey romance. We are following Hannah, who is a janitor. She had a one-night stand with a guy in New York, ended up pregnant. She had his number, but after they parted ways, she found out that he was a professional hockey player. And then by that stage, she didn't want to call him because she was concerned that he would think that she was after money, and she didn't want to be that person. So she never called him. And she works as a janitor for her family's cleaning business. She is in charge of cleaning the practice facility at the Utah hockey team's practice stadium. She's there one morning, she's having a rest, and then she runs into said guy, whose name is Barry. And I love that his name is Barry. Like, that's one of my favorite things about this entire book. Barry sees that she's 6 months pregnant. She blurts out that the baby is his in a moment of panic. And then he sets out to prove to her that he wants to be in this child's life and he would like to co-parent with her, and that he wants to prove to her and to everyone in her life that he is not a flake. He is genuinely a good guy. And he's one of the nicest MMCs in a romance book I've read in a long time, because he goes well out of his way to prove to a very, very stubborn Hannah that he's not leaving. He's sticking around and he is going to see this through. And because of her past, where her family have seen her as quite flighty, she's gone through a number of jobs, etc., she believes that everyone perceives her to be flighty, and that if she doesn't follow through and raise this child on her own independently, everyone is going to believe that she can't do anything, which is not the case at all. Her family don't think that. And I think most women can probably relate to that, because where this trope of being a stubborn FMC in a book would normally frustrate me, I think it has been done really deftly with Kath Richards' writing. It didn't annoy me in this book. Even when she is refusing to take his money and I'm like, girl, just take the money. He literally has millions of dollars. Let him pay for these things for the child. It is his child. He should be paying money for things. You understand her viewpoint, because it has been demonstrated that she's feeling very like in a precarious position because of her past. I love this book so much. It was a really fun, lighthearted read with lots of great characters. I hope Kath Richards writes more with some of the team members that we meet in the team. She probably won't, but I would love that. It would be so fun. Alrighty. And then the book that came in at number 1 spot was In Your Court by Kit Haley. And one thing I do want to say is, like, this is, I believe, a debut book. So it is not the most perfectly written book in the world, and it is a little bit long, and maybe there could have been a little bit of tightening up in the story. However, the feeling that I had while reading this book was one of utter joy, and it's about tennis. I can't stand tennis. I've talked about this before. I talked about it in the Sports Romance book. So for an author to take a sport that I don't love, turn it into a book that had me kicking my feet in absolute joy while reading it, just brought me so much happiness that it could not be in the #1 spot. We are following two professional tennis players, Matteo, who is an Australian tennis player, who is the first openly queer player on the circuit, and also Miles, who is a US tennis player. And they've known each other for a number of years. They used to play together in juniors and train together. In this book, we are following them through an entire tennis season. I think we start at the US Open, we go to Wimbledon, and then we go through various tournaments. Matteo is not very highly ranked. He is not able to afford taking his coach and a team with him to tournaments. He goes by himself, and he has to play and try and win with minimal support on the ground with him. And he plays Miles, he loses to Miles, and then they're talking afterwards, and Matteo basically challenges Miles, saying that if you ever had, because Miles is much higher ranked than he is, if you ever had to do a tournament where it was just you and you couldn't bring anyone, you would find it hard too, because you're sleeping in places where you don't have every creature comfort. You're having to travel to and from tournaments from distance. And so the next tournament, Miles challenges himself to only spend Matteo's budget on what he would play in a tournament. And he does, he finds it difficult. And through then they strike up a friendship and then a secret relationship that goes on for an entire season. The relationship is challenged because Miles isn't ready to come out, and in fact his team is one of the big reasons why he can't come out. Yeah, like it's really interesting how this navigates that kind of relationship dynamic. And I know I talked in that video, I was reading this and the open era, and I think this does everything that the open era tried to do, but better in a romance sense. Because the open era, I don't believe, is actually a true romance. It is very much about the character's story, and there is romantic elements to it, whereas this is very much about the romance between Matteo and Miles. So if you are a romance reader, I think you will get more of the romance stuff from here. And there are just some really funny moments. There's a lot of Australia versus the United States or American kind of cultural references. There are some really fun scenes between Matteo and Miles when they're playing house. It was honestly just delightful, and there is a wonderful grand gesture at the end. I love this book because I bought the book early. I got prints, artwork from the author. There is a bookmark in here, which is very much not safe for work. There is this side, and then there is this, but I loved it, and it is my mission in life to make at least a few more of my friends read this book. And so that is my June top 5. I don't know what month I've been saying at the start of this video. Knowing my luck, I've called everything May up until now. In the comments, I would love to know, have you read any of these books? Are you planning on picking them up? Or what was your favorite read from the past month? Feel free to let me know. Otherwise, feel free to leave a tennis ball emoji to let me know that you're here. I hope that wherever you are in the world, you're staying safe and healthy, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye everyone.